killed that off. Maybe that's the reason why they were targeting TMZ way too much. With these segments popping up with Bad News Barrett with the teleprompter, targeting different wrestlers as Intercontinental Champion. They seem to be going in a very probable direction with him. Now they've changed him from Bad News Barrett to King Barrett, as they have Sheamus and William Regal in the past. How far or how long that's going to last, I really don't know, but I'm really just disappointed in how WWE keep pushing Seth Rollins in the way that they do. It's almost as if the Authority have convinced Seth Rollins in his own mind that he is indeed the future of the WWE. And if he was the future of the WWE, wouldn't you think that he would be a fan favorite? Now, of course, you understand how psychology plays a big role in this, because the psychology of it is a heel will say that he's the future of the business. He's the best one in the business, and he's the only one worthy of being champion and being given that distinction. But if Seth Rollins had so much promise put behind him and endorsements from members of the board of directors and creative team in WWE, such as Triple H, John Laurinaitis, and Vince McMahon himself, wouldn't you think that Seth Rollins would be a fan favorite? The only chance that Seth Rollins has right now, I can see in the future, of being a fan favorite is if the Shield reunites and we see a reuniting of the Brotherhood from 2012 to 2014, which could happen to play mind games with the Authority. That would be a unique swerve in the storylines if the Shield got back together and they literally fucked the Authority when the Authority least expected it. Let's say for the last number of months the Shield were feuding amongst themselves to play mind games and get a psychological advantage over the Authority, and when you least expected, the Shield reunites, the Shield come out as fan favorites, and they go up against the Authority. That would be awesome, as they did the Wyatts a number of months ago in 2014, I believe is when that happened. So I think that there's a lot that can go with the chances of seeing the Shield reunite, especially with the documentation being recently released, the destruction of the Shield before WrestleMania, and with how many people still talk about the Shield amongst conversation, especially on Twitter. A lot of people throwing out tweets about the Shield and how they wish the Shield would get back together. I myself are included on that fan wagon of the Shield getting back together, because we don't have as many factions as what we probably had 2 years ago in WWE. And with the popularity of the Shield and the number of votes we got on .com for the most talented member of the Shield to come out of that group and on the app, obviously people want to see things like reunitings of the Brothers of Destruction, DX, the NWO, the Shield. They want to see all that happen. Evolution, there were so many factions you want to see come back. The Shield are definitely one of the top 5. They're definitely 2, 3 of the more favorite superstars of the new talent. It's a fan favorite or heel. Pick or choose there. So I think there's a lot of chances and a lot of probability that go with the Shield returning to WWE. When, where, and how they will, I don't know, but I don't see it happening anytime soon because of the promise put behind Seth Rollins. If it were going to happen, Seth Rollins would have lost the championship by now. Now, he does get in a few arguments with members of the Authority like Kane, Triple H, and Stephanie. Sometimes Triple H and Stephanie don't really agree with Rollins and his point of views towards people like Sting and Brock Lesnar. And then Seth Rollins, of course, just throws it off his shoulders and gets back to what he's supposed to do as the champion, leading the Authority in a very probable direction. But how he's been pointing the finger, the proverbial finger, at Brock Lesnar and Sting, it kind of makes you wonder who is the opponent that Seth Rollins is going to lose the championship to. Because in order for the Shield to get back together, that's an entirely different angle and storyline from what's going on now. Very different from the 3 Shield members having singles careers as either WWE Champion, number 1 contenders, Money in the Bank briefcase holders, which Roman Reigns has a good chance of doing coming out of the MITB 2015 pay-per-view, which I'm really looking forward to in terms of the results, finding out if Reigns is going to do it, because we have an incredible crop of superstars, new talent superstars wanting to be crowned the new Money in the Bank winner. So there's a lot that goes with that, being crowned the Money in the Bank winner, because the holder of that briefcase can cash in that contract anytime he wants for up to 1 year. So there's a lot of unpredictability that goes with that. Also from that, we have Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins continuing their feud. From the recent Elimination Chamber match we saw where it ended in a disqualification, which I can't tell you how much it pissed me off. You know, if Seth Rollins were winning matches the right way and representing the company as a true champion, wearing the belt properly, coming out and cutting a promo that you could actually believe, I would support Seth Rollins more than what I do. But it's just the way Seth Rollins goes about doing things. Now, I understand the psychology point of view of how Rollins is being paid to piss us off, and he's getting paid to piss us off, and he's accomplishing that goal, because if he wasn't getting paid to piss us off, he wouldn't be there or accomplishing his goal. So that's what he's put there to do. But I mean, if you're going to have somebody there paid to piss us off, why not put somebody there paid to piss us off who we actually can get into and can actually have a few fans? Because I don't think Rollins has any fans out there. And if he does have any fans out there, there are a small percentage of Seth Rollins fans. If there are 100% of fans looked at on a pie graph, at least 10 through 15% of those fans are fans of Seth Rollins. You're not going to see a percentage of 75 through 80 being fans of Seth Rollins as you would for someone like a Randy Orton, because Randy Orton is an established name in the business. When you look at names like Randy Orton and Triple H, you're always going to have that high percentage of fans. The numbers are going to be up and out there because of Triple H and Randy Orton's names in the business. Batista is another one. Goldberg, Chris Jericho. There's always going to be a significant number of fans on that pie graph, and the number of people who hate them. Even The Miz has a certain percentage of fans who love him because of his attitude and his perception and outlook on life. And I don't think Rollins has that just yet. And if he does, there's a very small percentage of fans that actually like Seth Rollins. And then there's the doubt in the minds of WWE creative, which you know is there. Even though WWE will kayfabe the fact there's doubt in the minds that Seth Rollins will amount to the future of the business like he's putting himself over for being, and nobody out there actually believes that Triple H thinks that Seth Rollins is the future of the business. The thing about wrestling fans that I think wrestling fans are never given enough credit for are wrestling fans are some of the smartest people in the world, and they're perceived for being some of the more stupid people in the world. They're told what to believe, what to buy into, and there are fans out there who are foolish enough to do it. But the percentage of wrestling fans who are actually smarter than what they're putting themselves out for being is really high. And I think wrestling fans are never given enough credit, and I think more wrestling fans need to be given credit in terms of a political point of view. They have an exchange amongst themselves on Facebook and Twitter, all throughout social media and the internet, because if wrestling fans were given more credit for their political points of view, I think the wrestling business would be a better place. And if wrestling actually listened to their fans, the potential is to the unlimits of the sky, if you really want to talk about it that way, because there's so much potential out there if wrestling actually listened to their fans, because I think the sky's the limit is what I'm searching for here to say about, the fans and their opinion on the wrestling business, because they have a great opinion and analogy of what happens. You would never believe how great an analogy and opinions fans have on the business if you actually sat down and read, say, 500 emails or 500 tweets or 500 posts on Facebook, because they have an incredible amount of knowledge when it comes to the business and what can be done with the business to make it better. I mean, putting someone like Seth Rollins on top all the time may not necessarily be what wrestling fans want to see. It's just what the wrestling business wants us to buy into and believe, and what they want us to buy into right now is Seth Rollins is being paid as champion to piss us off on the microphone, and as a wrestler, that's how he wins all the time, and that's why he's held on to the title for as long as what he has since WrestleMania. And it can also be perceived as WWE's desperate attempt to create a champion of the future. That's another way of choosing to look at this, and I think that can also, get a bias, because Seth Rollins is definitely someone who is just someone WWE are trying to create for the sake of creating a star other than John Cena or Randy Orton for the future, because you have to look at it this way. Randy Orton and John Cena had 13 years, almost 14, under their belt by 2016. They're getting up there. They're getting close to Hulk Hogan. They're getting close to Ric Flair, and I think that it's time to start creating superstars. So obviously Seth Rollins could be the excuse of creating a star of tomorrow, just as Daniel Bryan was back in 2014, just in 2012 it was Sheamus, back in 2011 it was Alberto Del Rio winning the biggest Royal Rumble match in history of over 40 wrestlers, upping it from originally 30 to 40 with 10 additional superstars added, Alberto Del Rio being one of the additional 10 that were added in the 40-man Royal Rumble match from 2011. There were a number of excuses to be stars of tomorrow, and obviously just Seth Rollins is one of the latest. Now, I am a huge fan what's happening with Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. Dean Ambrose chasing Rollins for the championship, stealing the championship from underneath Seth Rollins. Who knows what's going to happen there? You can go to .com for more information on that. And also at our website, we have news articles posted referencing what's next for Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. Really looking forward to a few critical things happening throughout the month of June, the Money in the Bank ladder match 2015, and how Reigns will fare in that match, along with the incredible amount of talent we're going to be seeing in the 2015 MITB match, and what's going to be happening next for Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, because their rivalry goes back to when the Shield first broke up in 2014, and you can imagine how much potential actually goes with that, because there was a lot of potential for those of you that don't recognize the potential that goes with someone especially like Dean Ambrose. That being the reason why I put over Dean Ambrose in a video blog here on this YouTube channel just a couple of days ago. It was one of the more latest video blogs I threw up at Jonathan Clarke 22, describing how Dean Ambrose reminded me of the Brian Pillman type character from 1997 through 98, and how Dean Ambrose could go the distance in WWE, and how I agreed with his push more so than they did the other two Shield members, because nothing was done with Reigns, and it doesn't seem like anything is really being done that interests me with Seth Rollins, although something is being done with Seth Rollins for what it's worth. So I think that Dean Ambrose is the one to be banking on right now. I'd be looking forward to in terms of potential, because the sky's the limit for someone like Dean Ambrose. And you can go back on our YouTube channel and watch that archive and listen to what I had to say in terms of opinion on Dean Ambrose. I also wrote a column on people like Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, individual columns I threw up both in the index and for the column archives for In This Corner with Jonathan Clarke. I've also mentioned some highlights of Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose for my video blog, my Google video blog Cheap Shots, from Jonathan Clarke, which, by the way, has thousands of page views for you to check out, and hundreds of articles that I've thrown up with my opinions on various issues happening in professional wrestling and entertainment, and just everything in general in terms of political news. There's so much going on over on our Facebook page when you talk about professional wrestling, and you got to be subscribed to us. So subscribe to us at HW Entertainment. Follow us on Twitter at Jonathan Clarke 1, and of course watch us on YouTube with over 1,000 videos uploaded and 56,000 channel views. Jonathan Clarke 22. It would be greatly appreciated if you jumped on our fan wagon, because there's so much going on and so much you're missing out on if you are not subscribed to our conversation. I've got the entrance music of Dean Ambrose for you right now, and I will see you next week. Seth Rollins is champion. Can't say I really am a fan of it, but it is what it is, and I guess I'm just going to have to accept it. Who says that I like it? I really don't like the fact that Seth Rollins is champion. I'm not saying that I like it. It's just I have to force myself to buy in out of the idea that Seth Rollins is champion, because like it or not, I think Rollins is going to be champion for a very long time, and that's who we are stuck with. With that being said, the entrance music of Dean Ambrose, Retaliation, and I will see you next week.
Like what you hear? Tell us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.